is that then you define the problem. And the definition shouldn't be, I'm going to design a new school, 30,000 square feet, 6 classrooms. That's not the definition. Definition is, right to the conversation that you were talking about. Now that you have an opportunity to design, what do you want to accomplish? What do you want your students to gain? What do you as educators want to be able to do in the building? That's the definition of the problem. The other is the solution. Okay, in order to do that, we need a space that's this, that, or the other. And we need to be able to talk about those things in a way that shifts the paradigm. David asked me, how long will it take you to design a classroom? Well, if we all in our minds think about what a classroom is, we likely will have a very similar idea. So we've even stopped using the term classroom, primary instructional space. We're not calling it library anymore, it's Center for Research and Inquiry, right? Just that subtle shift has a big deal to do with how we think about things. And then the next step is the fun part. This is where we begin to take ideas, and there are a variety of methods. We'll give you some resources at the end of the talk about how you can start to draw those ideas out of both your team and your students to think about what you want those spaces to be. But it's fast, it's furious. This is the brainstorming stage. This is where we as architects get to play. And then it's also important to test those, right? Because a lot of times you'll think this is the right solution and you'll go to implement it. This is the nice thing to me about the design process is that it isn't just about buildings. It's about anything that you want to accomplish. If you're thinking about starting a new school or changing a curriculum or moving boundaries in a district, these are all things that you can use this process to help solve. Really test it and think and allow it to grow and then start back over again, right? It's a cyclical process, and it's a process that is dependent on language. It's a process that's dependent on active listening, and it's a process that's dependent on bringing your best self to the table and throwing your ideas out.
We're going to be focusing right here as part of the design process, of course, in being able to talk and converse together. Use this, so we can explore that. So, you ready? Start. Okay. So, first idea is that words matter. All right. In your table groups, you've got one Sharpie, some post notes. Yeah.
Oh, yes. So, can I borrow one of your post-it notes? This is one of the best lessons I ever learned for any of you that are doing design thinking post-it notes or with my friend. 9 times out of 10, you pull them up like this, you go to put them on the board, they're all flying all over the place. All right, you ready? Mine's flow. Peel sideways, and they will lay flat every time. Little things.
Thank you for coming. That's all we got. That's all we got. In your groups, in your tables, what we're interested in, you sort of started to allude to it. You said makerspace. Pretty soon it's makerspace, and no, it becomes just this accepted word, right? And that can mean a lot of different things to different people, right? You have the application lab, you have all kinds of different ways to interpret that. So at your table, we want at least 5 post-it notes that each post-it note there's a single word. These are words that we no longer consider really much in education, but they're just things we use all the time without considering their meaning.
Widely accepted words.
Widely accepted, just 5 words.
They don't have to be designed necessarily.
Yeah, we're 5 words that we just say all the time and don't even think that they're just accepted as true. So we don't really think about what they mean.
It has to be related to space.
We got 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Welcome. By the way, the reason we have, hold on, time out. The reason we have 1 Sharpie, that means that we're not going to take out pens and all do it individually. We're going to have a conversation. No person records. That's it.
Okay. That's how it works. The person with the pen is recording.
I can spell. My handwriting is not very
Camera? Yeah.
Just a word.
3 minutes, 3 minutes.
In other words, one just goes to the shelf.
You have 4 minutes. 4 minutes.
So sometimes we think like we want to be innovative, what does that actually mean to be innovative? And are we just changing things up for the sake of changing things up and saying, okay, or is it actually like helping students? Any other ones? Right, like what's on that worksheet?
Two minutes.
5 words, 1 per sheet. For those of you that have more than 5 words, start to hold down.
Right.
That's I teach it.
Next step. Please listen. Next step. Not yet. Here's the next step. Pick out your 2 favorites.
Yeah, I like this. These are kind of the same, yeah? Or not, but yes.
All right.
You make it.
Yes, after all of this.
All right. You got your 2?
Yes.
All right. We're going to start our share back. So we're not going to talk about the word. We're not going to talk about what we think the word means. And the conversations you have, we're just going to throw the words out. So what are your 2 words?
We have teach
Teach
and curriculum.
and curriculum. So yeah, so now if it's one of your favorites, you're gonna have to move on. Yeah.
PBL collaboration.
PBL collaboration.
21st century and innovative.
21st century and innovative, yes.
We have STEAM and it's special ed / smart / gifted.
Okay.
Hold on.
Yes.
There's one more.
Rigor, and critical thinking.
Rigor
And critical thinking.
and critical thinking.
We'll say equity
Equity and inquiry. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, now it's getting down to the brass tacks. Engagement, who has to share? You guys have to share what you do.
Tests and course.
Tests and course.
Yes.
Everybody share?
Oh,
Yes.
that's- that's- those are-
Oh, yes.
We have learning and instructional technology.
Everybody share? All right.
All right, so one of the things you want to do is make sure that you put your post-it notes off cycle like those. And we'll sample this on the list. The last thing I did as an administrator, I worked at Glenbrook South in North Shore, Chicago. And one of the things we were doing was leading on a school improvement process. And we came up with these drivers and these directions we wanted to go in, and one of them was inquiry. And it was easy to define that as a direction, but guess what happened when you went to the departments? If you went to science, you went to any other department. So, on a common definition of inquiry across the school of 3,000. Everybody fought for their own definition. So it was easy to define it, but the direction was very difficult to come up with a community-based definition where it might be how you apply. Want to talk about that? Yeah.
Are you saying the definition or the practice? You said
Well,
define
you
it.
do that, right? That's what it means. Yeah.
It's how it's defined in reality, right?
I
How
got
it's defined in
Social
practice.
studies teachers and science teachers, when they met, to talk about inquiry, let's look at that. So the point of all this is that we've got a lot of words that we use all the time. I mean, what does this mean? What does that mean? My favorite of all time? I can say one word for units. We're gonna define units, and units are arranged together our courses, and then
And then that's learning, right?
and that's learning, and then we have a test that after every unit, we might do some quick to fill these all into it. That's what education looks like, yeah.
Yes, I agree, but if you think about it from a scientific point of view, like a monomer and a polymer, there is some way to a structure. So for some people, it's not so much the rigidity that comes with it, it's the connotation that comes with it. And if you have the building blocks, how do you assemble them to become a whole?
Yeah, and so here's my point. All this language right here, where is it? In here, right?
Right.
And the question becomes, does the language that you use, because you're educators, because you're professionals, the language that you use, do you have to have a conversation, a language that allows you for a conversation to occur? So that is yes. But also, in that language, then be limiting and also contribute to the creation and the establishment of the status quo.
Right, so I'm gonna take a quick pass at these words here. You guys throw out an idea of which of these words you think have design implications. Space, design implications. Any of the words you see? Get out of the way. Any of the words you see?
Critical
They say
thinking.
all.
Alright.
Maybe not course, but.
Oh, well, what happens is, you have a blended, you have a course, you have a concept of course, but it was a blended course, it has spatial information.
Yeah. So all of them.
I like it. You're speaking my language.
So also, space and time are joined together, sorry. A little late in the morning for that, but, I'm a scheduler, an academic scheduler. Whenever you think about space, you also have to think about time. All those words also have a huge effect on how you schedule the time and bring the school back. Which that affects the space.
So what's the upshot here? Okay, what's the first connection you should draw? What conclusion can you make? What's your interpretation of these ideas as it relates to space design?
Oh, I don't want to ask you a question, but I do want to, well, schedule should be a word.
Okay. Any kind of synthesis of this? Go.
I was thinking the language as we know it is how we think. I'm limited in a lot of the ways that I think by the languages that I use when I think. So like I think in English, which limits my thinking through expression in the forms of English. So I think like if we're thinking about spaces in education, if these are the words I'm using to define my spaces, I'm limited. These are our traditional words and definitions in the space of education. So these are what I'm using to talk to the designer. I'm going to get what we traditionally had in education. So if like we can bring in words that don't typically belong or haven't historically belonged in discussion of the educational space, then I'm going to create or inspire, end up with something that hasn't typically represented the education.
Perfect. And a strategy, that's awesome. A strategy for that, one of the easy strategies that we do is stop when you're having a conversation with your architect. Don't have a conversation about spaces, have a conversation about activities. Okay? And what you want to accomplish in what you're trying to do. So we don't want, when we do charrettes, we no longer talk about classroom libraries, we talk about large utilities, long research, inquiry, gathering. Those turn the conversation on its head. That way you don't end up with exactly what you have.
I'll go ahead. Sure. Who else?
I go with what someone already said here. It's not just the language that we use now, but it's the danger that even when we create something new, like STEAM, for example, all of a sudden it comes with connotation. So it was for a while a really exciting new word, and everyone thought, oh, we invented something, and now it's not already because it comes with connotation and we know what it means, but we actually don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I just wanted to point out that I think some of the ways that we're thinking about design or some of the shifts that we've seen in classrooms, makerspace and labs and things like that are partly because of some of the ways that educators have intersected with other fields, other disciplines like art and also disciplinary sciences, which talk about some of the same ideas, right? And so I think one of the things that for teachers to think about is it's really helpful to connect up with folks who are doing, who are working in different disciplines to try to understand that way, what they're talking about, that has the language for it, and therefore we can help them understand it in a different way, right? So if you work, let's say, you build a partnership with an artist in your community, that can have a really transformational impact on your work, thinking about your classroom, because they're reading it in a kind of language.
So you're actually saying that we have opportunity to create different kinds of lenses to
You'll experience a little bit of that today.
One of the things I also think is some of us experience, and some of us also do in the culture. Because sometimes it's caught up in the culture of certain things too far, and that's one thing. And then the other part of it also is your experiences, because sometimes, like say for instance, one of the things I've come to realize over the years is that so many people don't travel. So when you travel and you go to other countries and you see what's happening in other places and everything else, that changes your perspective of exactly a lot of the words that are right here, because then you start realizing that it's a completely different definition over there compared to where you are. And then you have your own personal culture that this means, you know, like say for instance, you know, talking about, actual units and stuff like that. You're here, or where you come from, that's exactly what it is, it's only set for
Place
certain
as content.
Right, so because I think that limits us also, so that's.
But our ability through those experiences to shift our own language and our own thinking is what keeps us moving forward.
Does anybody see the work of Julian Germain? Julian Germain. Here you have a web picture. Look up Julian Germain pictures of classrooms. It's going to her point about when you go to different cultures and see different things, you see different things. So Germain travels the world, looks at classrooms in the 90s, and he's interested in understanding how the trajectory of education and kids. He goes and takes pictures of classrooms, and what does he see? Every single classroom that he takes a look at, or he photographs, is a typical classroom. Desks and rows. So when there's cultural changes, the classroom is a universal construct. So how do you shift that? How do you make changes? So you had one final comment on this?
There's a school out in Sydney, given Harris, just for most of the information around inside airports. That was very over. So a lot of convenience and sort of staff at airports.
So here's a question you see all the time. You see Starbucks in your classroom. Did I get a bad idea? We're in Starbucks in my classroom.
Coffee
That
shop.
means we're gonna make our classroom like a coffee shop.
Or does everyone take it out?
So the point is that you can go to places like that, go to maker spaces, go to design studios. Those can inform classroom design or school design.
But they're not the solution.
Yeah.
Exactly, you don't want to replace one language with another.
That's a good point, yeah.
Well, one thing I was gonna ask from like everyone's bringing each other links to that, the huge thing is like the students that move through your space, like, I mean, when you have a student, you throw an empty layout for a student to design, what is it usually? It's like slides, like video game room, like all this stuff. So like, we're like, let's design a fun space. As like educators and adults, I think our spaces are not that fun, you know? So how do you like blend those two, thinking about who's actually gonna be, the number of people who are gonna be using your space is for you, and then there's like 20 or 30 or 50, like young people, whatever age they are, whatever interest they have.
And do you, as the educator, as the designer of that space, have the courage to authentically listen to them and trust them that they know what they want? And
Yeah, actually, what I keep doing at every school that like read their students and remade the school.
We're gonna go to the next step. I apologize for cutting you off. We're gonna get to this. Sorry, this is gonna be a challenge. You ready?
Yes.
We've been talking about words. Now we're gonna compare words. Okay. This means you're all gonna stand up. Okay, don't do it just yet. And we're gonna give you two words. These are called productive tensions. And we wanted to see where the test your understanding of language, what resonates with you. We've got 5 of these. Okay. So one of the ways in which we communicate is through words. And understanding words from the people. We're going to transition a little bit later to visuals, images. But what we're going to do now is called productive tensions. You're going to have to vote with your feet. So are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Now you're going to have to figure out how to do this. We'll leave it up to you. Everybody is going to have to stand up. There is no middle ground in this.
Pick a side.
You have to declare a side, state your claim, plant your flag. You ready? Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to record the discussion on video. We'll post it because it's going to be a really rich dialogue conversation. Now, the idea is that we just had a conversation about words and vocabulary, what it means, how it constrains attention with inside you. Now we want to look at compare words against each other to see where you stand.
And there is no wrong answer, just so you know. It's just conversation.
It's a great opportunity for you to try your faculty. Everybody up. All right. Here we go. Here's the first one. To the left side of the room. This way. Yeah. This way is map. That way is compass. You have to decide where you stand. Map, compass. Map, compass. Were you guys? Why did you move to compass sign? Why compass? Go.
Just aim in the direction. We want learning to occur. It doesn't have to be specific. That would be good. Right? It can take all types of shapes and forms. But I just want an end product. What am I doing?
When you compass, or you know your directionality, like I told the compass, so you always know what your directions are. You can get anywhere. You don't have to have an app or going to the second. Because you have the compass.
My map. My map. Hold on. My map.
The map takes you to different places.
That takes you to different places.
You
You can see what's around you.
You can see where your end results, where you want to go, and then follow the path to get there.
I wanted to pick on this because I was thinking like chicken and egg, and that you need to know where you're going in order to be able to get someplace. But ultimately, if you don't know where the other places are, then where are you going? So I think I need to know where everything is.
Where's fun?
But then how did people discover unknown land? They didn't have maps, but they had a compass, and that's how they discovered.
Keep going.
With a compass, you can create a map.
Maps are gonna show the things that are around here and face a different pathway.
It's a good thing that none of you want to be expressive.
That's also about history. But if you need a map, you don't, if you have a good map, you don't need a compass.
Map may be an existing product, and then you can backwards design how you want to get to the goal.
You can always create your own map.
Maps are created by individuals.
Speak up, you guys. Speak up.
Maps are created by individuals with certain perspectives about development. Sometimes they have bias. Compass.
Maps define here's where everything is. Doesn't say exactly.
Exactly, it's relational, which is cool. But like McDonald's on a map, and somebody who doesn't know how to use a compass can be like, I know how to get there.
Convince them to come to your side.
We have cookies.
As your compass can tell you where the cookies are.
They're right here. Map side, come on to the compass side. That's good. Sorry.
I've never downloaded Google Compass.
All right, we watched it, I've
I've never downloaded Google Compass.
A map is only as good as if you know where you want to go.
Compass has a true north.
Compass has a true north, that's true.
Compass has a true north.
A map may have many different places you can go.
Stop. Spatial implications of map versus compass.
A map is inherently oriented around a destination as opposed to a compass. Which by definition has to be focused on the journey you set along the way.
Okay, but what's the spatial implications of?
Flexible thing.
One's
Yes.
scripted, one's
Hold on, you're designing a space. So what does it mean to design space?
That's how to scale.
And that's design implication. We have to allow Johnny for all space.
What if the map hasn't been created already?
Maybe you need a compass.
You need a compass.
Oh, we need each other.
Look at Sally in there.
Each one of us designed a map, and we can put them all on top of each other and combine all of those ideas into one map. Go, compass.
But that's teacher direct. We want student direct.
Time out.
But it's still limited.
Hold on. Now we're
And then I'm
going.
like that.
I love your passion. Here's the idea. So we can get these two words, so, we get them definitely. What do they mean for space? Are you going to allow kids to chart their own course through space, so you can provide frameworks for them? It's a valuable question to ask. Again, the language of words and how they combine together, and these tensions matter. Okay, here's number 2. Personalized.
Personalized.
Personalized over there.
Personal.
Here. Personalized. All right.
It's just exercising your fitness.
It's fine. You guys are with us?
All right, I can go to Burger King. I get a personalized Whopper, but I can't go there and just get any old sandwich. So a personal sandwich to me would be able to walk in and go, I want a grilled cheese with onions. Versus personalized, I just, oh, I can only have these many things and I can only get these things on.
So the classic example of that is your BLS, that product that you choose out of the list.
Oh, well, those three things. It was personalized. I couldn't get anything that I wanted, but I had hot stickers, pretzel sticks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And pets.
More. Where are you?
Agency.
Agency.
Relationship.
Oh, we don't have agency in there. That's without no picture.
Okay.
The personalized.
Personalized. Why personalized?
I felt like personalized took personal and then made it like, and then made it to action. Like find out what's personal for someone and then tailor whatever you're doing to what you know about the person. So this is like the enacting of being personal.
Like personal perspective and personalized.
It creates empathy. Yes. It's a sense of empathy that you have to what's personal.
It's a process. Personal is halfway, personalized is that's what and it can be how you be the same hamburger, but you create a process of personalized. And why does personalized have to have limited choice? Which I said that I wanted an engraving done on something and I wanted to personalize and engrave whatever I wanted them to do, or they can personalize a t-shirt for me and whatever way I want.
Yes.
I'll jump onto that real quick. So I thought personalized, remembered when iPod would do engravings on the back of the iPod recorder. So everyone would get the exact same iPod with the same space and memory, the same size, same colors, but you could get yours personalized, say like to Sun with love, whatever it was. But like what it didn't do was the personal aspect of saying like, I want mine a little bigger or a little smaller. I want mine to hold 1,500 songs, not 1,000. It didn't allow you to open up the case and make it what you want. It just allowed you to make yours sort of inconsequentially different from someone else's.
How do you,
Okay.
Whatever you want.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but part of the whole idea of having something like an iPod that has some similarities, that it allows you to share with other people what those similarities are. I feel like personal just means your personal space, your personal ideas, but in a sort of cocoon where it's not shareable. Personalized, in your example of personalized, like if we have the same iPod but different engravings, I could have conversations with him about how he uses iPod, obviously for music. But, you know, I'm just making this a big goal.
But that was the point too also is that because it was personalized, there's a relationship that took place between a father and son. Or a mother and son, or whoever it was that actually gave the gift. And that's where it was personalized. It was a relationship that went beyond just being personal to the other person.
Deeper. Personal is going deeper. It's going to that next level beyond just putting a label as personalized.
Yeah.
Personal. Who you are.
Okay, time out.
I don't think you can personalize something unless you get personal with someone. And I'm not, I think you guys are using like superficial examples of personalized, but if you truly like personalize something to an individual, you have to understand their person in order to be able to do that. And I don't mean like on a manufacturing company level, I mean like interaction with a person.
Okay,
Okay, hold on.
Great discussions, and the energy is awesome, by the way. Now, design implications, personalized versus personal. What are the design implications for space?
So I will respond to that and respond to yours. I think the difference is personalized to something that is already existing in concrete, such as engraving an iPod or choosing from a menu, as opposed to personal, which is establishment of something new designed around personal intent.
So what is the design implication of that?
So the personalization would be putting a different colored carpet in your four walls classroom. And personal might be blowing up the idea of there being walls in your classroom and building an entirely new space designed around certain goals.
Rebuttal.
Commercialize personal versus personalized, like we never were mentioning commercial aspects, so the design implication is that it doesn't have, it's not commercial, it's not commercialization. And so it's not commercialization. And therefore it is personal, but it's enacting what is personal.
What does it mean for space? So come on, what does it mean for?
So like for me, I would say that thinking about it as someone who, as an educator, we even said hospital service is personalized. You have to get personal with them. So it doesn't have to be a set way that you're doing your classroom, or you can only choose this color or this color, or do we have, well, you would.
You just use that word.
Oh, okay. Space.
Learning space.
Any type of space, but you would have a personal conversation and engagement with someone. It could be a client, it could be whatever you're designing. And then based on that, you would make personalized decisions for whatever they want.
Access to those spaces are gonna be personal, so if it's personalized, say we're just gonna build a school and it's, you know, same schools, we talked about schedule and bells and things like that, but if it's personal, the child says, I only work well from 9 p.m. to 3 in the morning. Do you think schools are going to necessarily, we're thinking about design implications, we want to give that child access, we have to think about not just how we design it for the physical being, but also the time being that we have to have it working.
Excellent.
Engaging versus transformational or transformative.
Engaging versus transformative.
Yeah, that's what you think. Because that's what it has to be. No standing in the middle.
It's like if I just.
We take 5 comments per side.
Engaging on the side, transformative on the other. All right, we're gonna do 3 or 4 minutes. Oh, no. He's leaning one way, but you gotta move, bro, you gotta move.
All right, what side are you guys?
So I'll refer to it as the video game, where you're so caught in this video game, you just don't want to stop. You just want to keep playing until you finish the whole game, so you're engaged.
Word ideas about engagement. Why engagement?
Engaging relates to your emotions.
Relates to your emotions.
Excitement.
Excitement.
Buy-in.
Buy-in. Respond. Go.
If we believe that our goal is transformative, learning experience and engagement is the condition for that. So it's already part of what transformation is.
I would say the opposite of that. I would say something that was engaging by definition should be transformative, actually.
Should be, but I'm claiming transformative. You can have something that's engaging.
But the word's not transform, it's transformative. And so to me, transformative means something that evokes change or growth.
Right.
Because that can be engaged, but nothing has changed.
Absolutely.
You could be engaged with a video game and never get off the couch.
And you can create a change and transform only some, and you want to make sure that everyone is engaged in that process.
Can you be in a transformative space and not be engaged?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Correct.
If you did this,
Wait,
How? I think it depends on how you define transformative, because if
exactly right.
I'm changing, I have to be engaged. Like, there's no way I can possibly change from where I am and grow unless I was engaged in what was happening in front of me. You can't be passive and transform.
I could stick a lab with 10 3D printers and have none of them know how to use them, and it's then the place is transformative, but it's not engaged.
No,
It's
Is it worthwhile to have this kind of conversation with your faculty? See the difference, even within this group, there's a wide range of beliefs and perspectives about how words fit together. Spatial implications of these 2 words. Spatial implications only.
What I was thinking is that now you have to look at especially when it comes to engaging, you'd have to look at what is actually happening pedagogically inside the classroom. If you want, or the learning space, let's put it that way. Is it student or is it teacher focused? What is going on there? And what actually is happening within that 40 minutes as we have the word schedule, whatever it is that's taking place at that specific time. You have to look at it from that perspective.
And I think also, you go back to the word personal, you have to see who your audience is. You've got ADHD off medication, you've got dysfunctional situations, those kinds of things. You've got, if you want to have buy-in and for it to be engaging, you've got to feed your audience what they need.
I feel like engagement confines the space and transformative goes outside of that space.
This is not an English.
Right.
All right,
Next verse.
next word, wonder, curiosity. This is wonder, and that is curiosity. That factor brought back.
All right, you guys on which side? Curiosity, lead us off.
Curiosity seems more like an action word. Wonder, you can sit and have, wonderings about things forever, but to me, curiosity means you're seeking it out. You're curious about it. You want to find out more about it. You're learning or you're researching versus just sitting and wondering about something.
How do you build a space that inspires curiosity?
You have to evoke wonder, but then facilitate curiosity.
No.
Wonder feels long-term, where curiosity feels short-term.
No, it's going.
Wonder is like the engineering process. I wonder why this works this way, let me take it a step further, or if I can change something.
I was thinking of the word completely differently. I was thinking of the sense of wonder that one gets after.
So you're thinking of it.
understanding things. So it's a, yes, it's an emotion. It's like,
It's evocative.
wow. Yes, how cool is that?
So you were thinking of it in a
Yes,
completely
like
different
awe,
context.
like awe.
Anybody else?
Wonder feels like looking at things that are intangible versus curiosity, things that are tangible, things you see, experience.
Right, because that's, I think, innately in the person. I think curiosity is a lot of innate, because if you create, which happens to me, why I do what I do. I just get more and more curious, and every time I get more and more curious about something, I start investigating. It's innately within, I think, a person to be curious about certain things.
Yeah.
Curiosity comes with passion. Wonder comes with many areas. Curiosity comes with passion and drive.
Wonder is a verb, curiosity is a noun.
Without wonder, you don't have curiosity.
Spatial
It's
implications.
also a noun, but I'm choosing it as a verb. Agree, but I'm choosing it
Spatial
as a verb.
implications of these two terms, what does it mean? When you walk into this space, does it inspire wonder and curiosity?
I'd like to pitch in for the quiet people, because wonder is something you can be dreamy, and it's very difficult to build a space that accommodates dreaminess or mindfulness. That's a big deal.
If you base your lessons on, you start with questions that come from the kids about what they wonder about, then you're more likely to get curiosity, get curiosity from them. In terms of, when you're talking about designing space, I'm not just thinking of physical space, but I'm also thinking of how you design your interactions with the kids. If as the instructional leader, you start with their questions and not your own questions, and ask them what they wonder about a topic, then they'll be more curious to learn it.
Design implications.
When you said design implications, you say wonder, I think Disneyland. I think Disneyland, it's a place of wonder, it's a whole experience. You can go to a place you think, I'm not gonna be interested in this, but yet when you go there, you go, wow, this really impacts me emotionally, not just being in here, but I feel like it gets to my core.
I think very different with that design space, so again, to make people wonderful there with a bunch of people, whereas I would think of a park as a place of fun.
I think the spaces have to be flexible so that you have a space that is for the people who are using it. So one group, inspired curiosity does not work for another. You have to have that
One last one, we have to keep going. Like the job, I apologize. Last one.
Classroom, studio. Yeah.
I wonder if.
Which side?
Classroom.
Classroom.
We're in the middle.
Classroom, studio.
No middle, you gotta decide.
We're protesting.
Yeah, it's a protest.
All right, Karen, why classroom?
I just think of a studio apartment, and I really didn't want to walk
Okay, the words matter.
Where it's at, that's what I think about.
With all connotation.
Why else classroom?
That studio feels more isolated, like more like a solo endeavor takes place in the studio. And classroom is like not very unified. We grew up on our board is saying it's sort of like a we take for granted word. But I think like it has the capacity to find in expansive ways.
I think of classroom being where the learning's gonna happen and the studio being like the space where you can showcase it. So of the two, like which one is more important, the place where it happens as opposed to the place where you show it.
See, I see a studio is in a building, out of a building, anywhere, lights, action, cameras, let's go.
The behaviors of the studio.
Working on their
Creating.
Describe in your mind what a classroom is.
Control.
That's the problem.
Same question over here.
But that's the problem, that all of those words go to classroom.
Classroom.
Classroom is like engaged in learning and excited and a place to make and create and all of those things.
It's like house, right?
Previously you gave us nouns and verbs, now you give us a space. And
Oh, well, that's
based
fine,
on
we
what?
can do that.
Based
So
on
That's
what?
designer's prerogative.
that's we can do. Next.
All right, design implications.
The studio can be anything, it's fluid, it's not.
A
so-
classroom can be anything.
Yeah, right?
A classroom can be anything too.
Yeah.
I mean, when you design a school building, you have to separate it because you can't have 1,500 people all in the same place. Or can you? And right now, organizationally, we divide people up into sections or zones based on classrooms so that both teachers and students are not on top of each other. But is that what it means? Like, is that right? Studio, you're interacting with your environment, you're still learning in both cases, hopefully. But it is by setup. And our traditional mindset is that if you described at the beginning, it takes 2 seconds to draw a classroom because all of us say it has to have 4 walls. Does it or doesn't?
Okay. Now, if you are a faculty, one school, she's your architect, how valuable is this conversation to you as an architect?
Incredibly valuable.
So when
If you're not having these conversations, first of all, I was telling David yesterday, we oftentimes as architects find ourselves facilitating conversations about teaching and learning. And what I would encourage you to do is have those conversations about teaching and learning ahead of time. So by the time your architect comes on board, you guys are of one mind or as close to of one mind as you can be, and you're able to convey that information as we move forward in design.
we just gave you about a half-hour exercise with 10 words. Look at all the differences and disparities, commonalities and similarities that exist within just a small group about what these words mean for spatial design.
And all like-minded individuals.
Yeah.
Imagine, you break that up, you put students, parents, community.
Okay, so what we want to do is now, if anything else you want to say about that whole experience, do you see doing that? Is it important for those ideas to become visible within your culture, your school, your community? Yes.
I have a question,
Yes.
because I've actually been in 5 different building, programs. The question I have for you is, with what you just did here, and having this conversation and everything else, how do you get that across? Because one of the things get it across to the school, or get it across to the community, or get it across to anybody, to have this conversation, to do what we just did, in order to design a school, or to design any learning spaces. Because the problem is, 90% of the time that I've done, and I've been doing this 22 years, is that I've had the architect dictate to the school district. What needs to be done?
You're working with the wrong architect.
That's what I realize now.
Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of it is, as an architect, I hardly ever make those presentations. The people that are making the presentations are the people who use their own words, use video. Well, we're gonna do another exercise here in a minute. Use pictures, use graphics. That's how you start to convey that story in a way that moves beyond just the design and the vision of what architect.
Okay, we go back to seats. Yeah, but let's come.
Well, yeah, I just want to say like this exercise is great, but also it encourages my your decision making rather than that decision making where we're trying to understand what do we need when we say we need.
That's what we're gonna do now.
Okay, cool, because I didn't like this sort of conversational energy. We all sort of.
Who made it confidential?
Right, and that's what I found intriguing, but also very difficult.
Could you do this? You allow people to stand along a grid.
Yeah, that would be much more interesting. That would improve as the
Bring
conversation.
up whatever device you have, the bigger the device, the better. If you have it, if you're not on the Wi-Fi, it is either SLA preferred. Username is guest_educon, all lowercase, password 2.9. And then join
Okay, so on your tables, you need at least one machine that has that document open. It's a PDF. It's a series of pictures of different kinds of spaces. It's bit.ly/language of space. So it's
TI/language of space.
Yeah, and my suggestion is to download that document.
User ID again.
Download it.
Good. User ID again. Educon guess.
Yes, yeah, I think it's Educon. Yes, Educon,
All over.
all lowercase. Yes, 2.9 is your password. Actual period.
Yeah. Yes, Educon 2.9.
Yes, Educon is the username. 2.9. So there'll be 2 boxes when you get on the other of those wires. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Then I'd be like,
Okay, so you should all have, your table should all have a PDF, downloaded PDF of, I think, 44, 45 images. Right? We're gonna go to, what we're gonna ask you to do is think of, conversation. Hopefully you guys will remember where you were in your binary conversation. And we're going to just revisit 3 of those. And we're going to start to think about, okay, now visually, as you think about either being on the side of classroom versus studio, and pick 2 images that to you define your vision of what your studio is. Okay? So think about what those would be.
You guys are good? Classroom studio, come on, 3 images that represent the one that's right.
Ultimately, if you have 2 groups represented, or if you want to do both.
Image that represents classroom, one that represents studio.
You know the number. Yeah. One image for classroom, 1 image for studio, and just write down the number for each. The visual, if you believe best classroom is what you want it to be. Yeah, not what it is.
So then you put studio for one and then classroom for another, where our ideals are. So we now know that interpretation of like a studio or workshop, right? So rather but they asked us to do both. So no, that's really cool. I like that as a classroom. Breakout spaces down here.
All right, who has? All right. Give us, right now, guys, just give us your number for classroom. Give us your number. 3. Okay, what is it? 3. 3 for classroom. How about you? 6.
12, 16.
16. 12. 10. 22. 19. Okay. Number, everybody get the number for studio. 5.
39.
39. 3. 4. 19. 10. 15.
12.
12. Anybody else? Studio number.
Yeah. Alright, so let's take a look.
This is both classroom and studio, depending on the group.
So let's go through the classroom. You can start with 3. You're on 3. Why is that studio?
No,
Classroom. Why is that classroom?
It's both.
Okay, it's both.
I put that for classroom because with the windows opening solid is like a gathering place for students, but also it wasn't closed in, so showing that classrooms don't have to be confined.
Okay, anything else? Studio. Let's go to 6. Let's just keep going. Why is that a classroom?
It's clearly defined. It's legible spaces that different things can happen in different spaces, but it's legible.
9. Oh, no, 19. I was going to say
10 to the next one. 10 twice.
that. Classroom. Anybody?
That's classroom.
Streaming.
Let me ask this. How many of you would like this to be your classroom? How many of you would not like it to be your classroom?
There's not enough light.
Keep going.
12. 12.
Oh, we did this.
Yeah.
Good.
What?
Well, I mean, it's like, you just.
That's
think
beautiful.
about
Well done.
You think of it as kind of the sunshine, moves in the water. It's an awesome.
How are you not learning? How are you not engaged?
Keep going. Where are we at? 16?
Wait, where is this?
This is classroom.
But they have whiteboard walls, so it's.
It's gotta be a classroom.
Let me ask you
And
this.
they're not, the desks aren't like permanent
Yeah.
to each other.
So
What do we see typically as designers? We see schools with that notion of a classroom, date the notion of our classroom rather than to shift to something different. So there is a
Change versus transform.
yes. So be aware that if you're going into space design, do you want a better condition of you? Or do you want to cross that border into could be?
Yeah. Right, I'm gonna do some
20.
studios.
Yes, 5, 3, 5. You've already been.
You did 3, so I'll do 5.
What's that for?
Studio.
Organized chaos.
Nice.
Anything else?
Pick this studio. 4.
Why, huh?
They are now.
I just saw that as, to go back to the other word that we used, I saw that as like a place of wonder versus curiosity. Maybe somebody's just sitting there, but it doesn't really provide enough engagement or curiosity for things to be done.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
You skipped 34 for classroom, and I'm sorry to take you back, but I work in
It's all at
Philadelphia.
the bottom of that stuff.
I work in Philadelphia, and we have no money. And I think that in this whole conversation, you know, people are looking at like huge structural changes to spaces. That's not happening in Philadelphia. They just stand out there to spend $5 billion just to repair like furnaces and stuff. But you can still have a classroom that does all of this wonder, curiosity, personalized, all the things that we talked about without needing to like take down walls and, you know what, and
It's
do.
about mindset, right?
Right, I mean, that kid to me in 34, that's what this is about. Like, how do you create that situation for that child, no matter where he is? Like, what are your priorities? So that to me, that's what that's what.
Where do you get these images? Where do you get Pinterest, yeah, absolutely. Here's a technique for you. Just so you print those out. You put a piece of paper behind, like a piece of paper, piece of my picture. You put a piece of paper behind like this. Give your faculty red, green, and yellow dots. Red, I
Hate
it. Green, I love it. Yellow, I and then you give them one blue for their favorite. That way you get to see patterns and trends. At some particular points, you stop talking about space and run out of words to describe it. Transition to the visual side, so you let people see it and interpret that. So a couple of techniques. Talk about the words that common language. Okay? Then do productive tensions. See if they can then transition to a visual. All right, we're gonna do one more real quick. Yeah.
I know, will you make this available?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna just download it, I'm just gonna, you care.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do real quick. We're really curious. Let's do wonder and curiosity. One for wonder, one for curiosity. We're really interested. What would you see? Oh, by the way, can you go back to your library? Go back. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to do this to her.
Okay.
Do this to her. She's part of the design team that designed this library, and it is the 2014 McConnell Award, which is like the Heisman Trophy of space design.
I didn't do that. Kids did that. First question we asked kids, what do you want in your school? First thing that came up, the 5th graders said, I want to be the captain of my own learning. Bang.
Hashtag captain of my own learning.
And it came from, again, 10 months of conversations before we even put pencil to paper. What do we want to do for our kids? How do we want to evoke wonder? You know, somebody said when you ask kids what they want in space, they put slides and chocolate rivers. And it's easy for us as architects to dismiss that. Oh yeah, everyone wants chocolate river. Who doesn't, right? But it's the next question. Why? Why do you want a chocolate river? I want joy. I want wonder through my journey through the school. And then start responding to that.
How about the treehouse?
The treehouse?
See the treehouse up there?
So,
Did they want to talk?
yeah. So, as we were going through our onboarding of the teachers of the building, and we're walking them through all the spaces, and the teachers, this is student-centered space. I mean, the entire space is designed on our needs, essentially, kind of at that plane. And one of the things we didn't take into consideration were the teachers and how much they want to walk around on their knees as well. And so they wanted a coffee bar and a wine shop up in the treehouse. We didn't do the wine, but we did do the coffee.
This side, one picture, this side, right down the center. Your wonder. You guys are curiosity. Okay, one picture that represents curiosity, just one picture.
Where what? The one.
But also that's curious outside.
Yeah, it's hard to. Is there like a galactic one or?
Yeah, I like the one with the mirror and the one.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Actually, that's a that was
number 8 or 9.
Yeah, I think that's a good like symbolic.
Yeah.
Like things that are like. Yeah.
Yeah, even though it's not like in our work, I'm curious how other people are doing. Exactly.
I can't tell.
Okay, but your table. But you were fine, they were right, I think they were right.
Two minutes.
I'm happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you that there's like a lot of these spaces are really nice. We have a lot of
All right, who's got it? You ready?
All right,
How about Wonder side?
Wonder side numbers. 12.
12, 41.
12, 41. 40. 40.
34.
34.
8, 9.
Oh, sorry, 9. No, 8. 9. All right.
Curiosity people, anybody got a picture for me? 32. 32.
32 is our student.
32. 12. Okay, anything else? 32, 33, 12?
34.
I don't know.
You should only have
We said 32.
You should only have.
You only have 4 tables. All right.
Okay, all right.
So,
So 12,
Wonder.
let's see what they got. 12, number 12.
No, number 9 first.
Number 9 first, okay.
So, Wonder, who picks 9?
We did.
All right.
Why?
It's an exploration of like things that are intangible, like somebody said before, like like shadows, reflective materials. Like this is just to be clear, this is like a symbolic representation of wonder for us. This isn't like literal.
Undefined, very undefined.
Question for you right now, in your school that you work in, could you define the space that stimulates wonder? You don't have to answer that. The space that defines curiosity. Okay, 12.
And if you can, commit to going and creating it. create the space and it goes to Wonder in your school. That's your homework.
Well, about curiosity, it's something to see in my people's touch. So when we thought about 12, we see the kids looking in the camera, curious that they're going to see. So that's all I think.
All right. We'll put 12 on that side. Yeah.
Wonder, I thought about the sensory experience, how wonder is about what, not just what you see, but what you smell, what you feel, what you hear, and that kind of an outside environment engages all of those things. And the whole contemplative part of it. It might look like you're just sitting there, but there's a lot going on.
Wonder. 34. That was your group.
That's curiosity though.
Oh, you're right. No, it's one for each side.
Let's go to 32, curiosity. When you see this, what do you think of?
On the other side.
Can't have what's on the other side, right?
Equity.
Okay. There's that boundary, right? There's that transition from you to you, the world looking through. All right, we've got 5 minutes. We want to wrap this up.
Thanks for that.
We had such a great conversation about intentions. I'm gonna my comment about this is in an hour and a half. Look at all the different ideas that came to bear with two simple activities or 3 simple activities. Okay, and then when you're designing spaces, the significance of having those conversations fast, so that people understand the landscape of design. Even within this group, there's a tremendous viability of differences between how you perceive ideas and terms. Those all factor in design. Remember, the first part of the design process is about understanding that with empathy. Language, here's an upshot for me, be able to change an organization, change a person, you have to be able to have a language capable of supporting it. So without the common language, you run the risk of not having a language capable of coming together and moving forward together.
And for me, I think the work that we do as architects of educational facilities really lives in that intersection between design and design process and teaching, learning, pedagogy. It's really that place where those come together. We had conversations earlier about you can have a really great space, you can have it, beautiful, all new, but if you don't change the thinking, you don't change the culture, you're not going to create transformative opportunities for students that we're talking about. So use the design process to think about it as a group. Use different words, different languages, things that start to break those constructs of the things we know. And then use that to move it forward. There was a conversation that you were saying, what if I go into my classroom and in Philadelphia, we can't change anything, right? You're not gonna be able to afford to build anything new. Take everything in your classroom and move it to a corner. Everything you have, move it to a corner. Work with your kids to figure out where they want things, how they want the room set up. And let them be the drivers, the captains of their own learning to figure out how best they utilize it.
Your ideas, Shad.
Throughout this, I was thinking one of the things that is subtle but very relevant and present is the idea of democratic values embedded in design and space, and both in the process, like the process and having folks, multiple voices involved and folks who are living in that space, making that space, but then also issues of power in the construct of that space. So you see all those traditional classrooms, those were very, and I travel around the world to lots of different classrooms, like you said, and see in many places where there is kind of this colonialist era, that those classrooms represent the colonialist era because it's
actual podium.
Right. Who's in charge and who's like just the listener and where's, where the power lie. So classrooms, spaces of learning, the process matters, but then also the ways that you set up, it defines the democratic kind of, or the non-democratic kinds of interactions that you have, and also the issues of equity. Obviously, if everything's so small and you have small people, that's going to be hard, and all those kinds of things. So I think power, democracy, all those kinds of things is something to kind of also remember in the design process.
I can, as an architect, I can walk into an empty school that's been designed, and I can talk to you about the culture of that place just by what I see. That's exactly what you're talking about, right?
Other
It's designed to build culture, or else.
Other comments on chats?
Yeah.
The one thing I want to add about sort of that first stage of the democratic opportunity, that human-centered design, is words are important, but acute observation is an integral part. Sometimes people don't say. It's more observing their behaviors, their interactions, and those kinds of things. So I think just somehow keeping that in mind, that it's not just words, it's what you see.
Yeah, when you go in and do discovery or go in programming and look at that first part of design, what do you do as a designer? When we have these conversations, right, with the observations, I always do 3 tours. One with administrators, one with teachers, and one with kids. I always get 3 different tours. And they go, take me to space and none of them. I did which one? I heard all students. So yeah, I would learn that's a good point. There's a wide range. You want to look at different ways to look at schools and how they're teaching and learning stuff. There's different kinds of techniques to sort of triangulate. So rely on one kind of thing, observation.
You don't have to rely on your architect to do that, you know? You as an administrator, as a teacher, talk to your kids, take me on a tour of this building.
What's the first step that schools mostly undertake? Mine, that I'm just thinking to myself now. What's the first thing that schools do when they go to do spatial design? A lot of them go do visitations. The danger of doing visitations first, in my mind, is that you want to make somebody else's experience yours. So have the conversations first. Go deep into it, understand what your faculty and your kids and your community believes about schools, about spaces and their importance. Find that first, then go do the visitations with ideas that you can make then on those folks. That'll come.
Thank you.
Great.
Enjoy the rest of your
Thanks, guys. Oh, thank you very much. I'm at Portland, Oregon.
Oh, yeah, I was like,
Oh, we have one. You want to park? Yeah, that's you guys. Have you had conversations around what we want to accomplish overall? want to read to them.
Yeah, and you know, so we want to be able to have like,
Sure. So that's what
yeah, so can we have like,
yeah, and I mean, some of the only thing I'm trying to get through in some cases, you like,
It's 2 hours spot.
but also think about adjacent. If there's something that you want to do, oftentimes when we do, tracks throughout school, and we're trying to expose kids to different things that maybe they can. We will purposely put them adjacent to general education, like lab or both sides, something that you can give that spark of curiosity. I would never be interested in doing that, but now I'm interested. The same thing, maybe somebody's not interested in, maybe.
Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome.
But, you know, right now in this space, unless I'm in here, I can't see it. So once we get a certain, we're gonna set as work on.
right. Well, the thing is, these are probably all glass walls, so people are able to see
Proof, but still have the. Yeah.
So our classroom right now is like technology, but it's like a lab that are science red, so they're all of the right. So when I did lots of classes, a lot of them have labs that they saw science. So it's very like, it's initially transformative to the right now, now science. This is gonna be more limited, this is still surrounded by other labs.
Yeah, and so exactly, so being able to see all of that other work.
So I think in some way we're trying to like preserve that sort of like, yeah, and but also like make it more fun because there's these now like yeah. So yeah, so sometimes when we're doing engineering, it's okay, we'll have some references. Why do we do oh, does that mean you like slime? Okay. How do we like actually transform that to think about? But it's also fun, you know. So anyway, but thanks, that was helpful.
All right. Yeah.
So it's more like, well, this is.
Now you are.
Hey, I absolutely do want to go. I feel like a lot of my background that side, not so much. Yeah, but I mean, our structures are part of it. Right, to me, for us, that's the problem. Oh, I see. Yes. What? So, Mike and I work together right now. That's my house, yes. And so we all work together and now have Maya and firsthand assuring the science service.
Yeah, and out, like.
Yeah.
They're trying to get.
Oh, okay.
Well, okay, well, yeah, well, you know. I probably.
Tasty cake.
Yeah.
Okay, so your son is going into 7th grade, okay, and he is currently attending. Okay. I don't know much about these. Okay.
Attention, Educon attendees, hope you all had a great first session. Grab the student and head to room 204 for an Educon agenda. Rapid fire, good ideas. Room 204.
Right, there's a big, right, a huge spectrum.
So, yeah,
So you're on this side.
So we're over there, and I just had a conversation with one of the,
Was this an older one in the? Okay, yep, okay. Yeah. Oh, just tell it to me, I'll put it in my brain, I'll put it back on the paper.
but I missed it.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, absolutely. You know where you go next.
Right. So I think that that's what makes it perfect, is that they have, it definitely is about the periods of profession. There's lots of periods throughout the day that are much less structured. So every Wednesday is a service day, they take the, oh, hey, so you were, yes, you're Phil, hey.
I can tell your friends, like,
I saw the thing and I was like, yay, that's my birthday bags. Cool. I am in the process of.
Oh, you're great. That's so wonderful.
I gotta be able to do so yes, Wednesdays there is that service block where we go out and do things in the community. So it's on campus, so it's off campus. There's a senior home that's right around the corner. There's a lot of people can do that. There's a walk online and shared. And so lots of different things. That's one day. I think me first would probably really wonderful thing for him. I think he'd really like that. And then there's always like at some point there's always sort of a community block or assembly, there's clubs, so there's kind of lots of, it's all built in the schedule, so it's not like an extracurricular part of it. And athletics are part of it. So if he's used to running around and he's that's part of every day, you know, for Wednesdays because of the whole thing. But you know, everyone does this work, it's not optional. So I think, right, but I think that's someone who's like, I was not supposed to get if I was in that environment. I knew it wasn't optional. I think it would make things a little easier. Just that, even you know, last the CrossFit team. A ton of 7th graders, which is in the makerspace, the great science team. There's a very much process where you. Network is very not self-directed, and so automatic. So, but if and they don't write their items, they don't, they think it's still, it's just a satisfactory, I had to not only check this box, but I had to box areas where it's sort of like, and then the next time, you know, developing, developing, and, I also try to adding side rather than the, you're listening to the, yes. So I got, it's all solid. It's, yes. I think you have Comcast and the server. I have oh, yeah. Right, right. So I know the middle school, the administrative structure of the middle school, I think exactly, is an amazing structure because the principal, Alexa Quinn, she was a teacher there, she got her degree from UPenn. She's a principal, the vice principal is, you know, it's like 55-year-old white dude, and if you want to be in students, it's like a black male. And so I think that structure just provides a lot of support for a large variety of students. So when they look at administration, it's not a bunch of old white guys. So and we just hired a new assistant in the schools for academics, basically number two, and she's unbelievable. So her whole work is in equity justice for, and she's doing amazing things to really provide that as a conversation, not just as like, oh, we need to get like more of this thing in that area. Like it's really, it's a huge conversation that's happening. And I've never been part of that before, and it's really, for me, it's very enlightening to understand how that whole thing fits in there. Paul Ignacio, who's a section leader, runs in this group, you know, basically, white educators, how do you manage your own whiteness in the community, and like, just be a part of it. It's really great. So there's so I've never taught slow before, so I'll just put that as a qualifier, so I don't have a lot of comparison. It runs the gears. There's that is there. Without a doubt, there are so it's like, well, why should I have that? I think that it's just something that everyone's aware of, and like that's where they're coming from. It's I think that again, class by class grade, so that so if he's going to 7th grade, that class is very small for whatever reason, which again might be a really good because it's only 5 kids, whereas usually it's like 60, 65, and it's just been this little bubble that's just continued on, you know, whatever, some year, just that they should be involved in. So that 6th grade class, really, like, there's a lot of really sweet kids who are down in the maker space who are, it is, the group that I see in my so they just did, in 6th grade, they do a project with our curriculum program, and so I get to see the entire 6th grade there.
So you do that.
Just, yeah, I mean, I think that's part of that being 6th grade is just like, you know, understands their own agency and struggling with sort of like, I want to do this thing, like, just physically don't know how to, and getting over some of the frustration and seeing also that we're start to collaboration where students are like, let me show you, I have this, I know how to do this, and I will show you. And some of those moments that happen.
Yeah, but that's because.
So I really, I'm very happy there. This is my favorite thing. Real education.
Not the trick, what?
Which I don't go to grab.
I don't either.
Trust you.
It's right around, so I like to have my
Yes, it's awesome.
and
It works are like, when you just wanna go like, it's really, there's a whole for
I'm one more than you.
learning and teaching.
I want multiple. Where are you guys staying? I'm from the Marine this morning. We have content. So. Have my gloves if I need it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I do not bring any cards, because I always forget to do that. Okay, so, are you, I know this was a set of a bunch of revisit
Oh,
days
thank you.
that are coming up, are you gonna be at any of them? Okay.
Our conversations don't seem like we want to tomorrow. Like, it sounded like positive, but they
Frankie was crazy, like, yeah. So I get this film. It's really.
You start visualizing your mind.
Yeah. When are you going next, or are you going to one? I want to catch up.
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so I think that's.
I know, and then you have to start, you have to continue to see, you can't keep doing it, so. All right, so, well, see you around. All right.
Yeah.
So you're Daniel's mother, yes? Hi,
And Daniel's father.
Oh, hi, that made a lot of sense. Hi, Phil, Michael. I think we may have, I used to run the Department of Making Do. So,
Yeah, oh, okay.
so I was there, and that's how I know Daniel, and now I'm at Friend Central teaching his class.
His class.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
So they're like, you're a maker guy, you know computer science. I'm like, no, I don't, but okay. So I'm sure very different teaching style from Daniel, who I think once told me that he feels more comfortable writing in Linux than he does in English. So
That's
yeah.
He writes in English very well. So, just so you know.
Yeah.
So you're taking CS1 and CS2?
So CS2 I don't think is going to happen this semester because I have one student enrolled. So and I think that's mostly because they went to the semester system, and I think there's a lot of confusion about people. They're like, oh, I have to sign up for 2 semesters. And stuff, everyone's going. Yeah. So people don't really know what's going on, and so I constantly kind of test with the administration, like, so what's happening with CS2? But I had a very positive experience with CS1, and I mean. I think as probably is always the case, like I got a couple of things and I don't even know what it is. As not being someone with computer science, I'm looking at these like notes and I'm like, I have no idea what this is. And so then I have to like basically throw it all out and make my own thing. I mean, come on, that helps. So, so what's Daniel up to now? I know he's in New York with Crystal Lee, is that right?
He got a coding job.
He got a coding job?
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's fun.
That's the bottom line.
Okay, is he happy?
He seems to be satisfied with the work and finds it rewarding. Of course, the last time we saw him, they had living there.
Okay.
I've already been to Ireland this forever. Get somebody set up to do whatever this was, so that people in the United States would see.
Oh, okay. Oh, so that they
went to meetings in Japan.
You went to that.
So this is an international company.
Check.
Oh,
Sorry,
Jet.com.
Jet.com. Which is as he says, it's like Amazon and Costco.
Okay.
So it's
Oh, yes, I have heard of this. Yes.
It claims its customers, where Amazon's customers went yesterday, Jet.com customers are losing money since that's what.
Okay, all right.
Right, and there's this whole sale deal, right? So the more you buy, where his name is, the
Right.
well, it's away, the cheaper it is.
You know, it's been a while, so the next time we talk,
Right?
it's been a while, so the next time we talk, we'll say he's writing code for users. But I think originally he was writing code for employees.
Yeah, so I like to say.
Shipping and receiving.
You can see it picking out the boxes.
But, so let's see, there's this class of languages that I'm not arrows familiar with, which are the functional languages.
Yes.
So that's why he's hired.
Okay.
An expert in one of them.
Haskell, I believe.
Well, he's an expert in Haskell, so he's had to use, he had to learn Microsoft's, flagship, functional language.
Oh, okay, all right. Yes, I was, do you know Neil, oh my goodness, I can't remember his last name. Deb Skapik's son, but now she's Skapik now, she wasn't before, the physics teacher. I don't know, anyway.
I don't think I do.
Okay, so, because Neil's a senior now, and he took Daniel's class, and so we talk a lot about functional languages and that sort of thing. It's mostly over my side, but that's how I'm aware that functional programming is where it's at.
Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah, so, yeah.
That's all that matters.
I'm so like object oriented. I'm like, I don't know, this is great. Java. Wow.
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, I think they're what I'm telling myself is in some ways it's nice because I'm learning kind of in sequence with my students. So, but I also I do this graph of like the amount of like on the y-axis I have the amount of good and harm I can do, and then the amount of knowledge I have on the x-axis, and it kind of starts at 0 and then starts quickly before going up. I'm like, I'm about here now. I know what I'm a teenager is.
Well, I'm sure they will practice. But there is something. Well, because I just take for like now, like when I taught last year, this is 1,000 years ago, but locally it's a lot. I was kind of I was trained to live and do it, you know, but that was actually part of the industry.
Yeah.
So then as well.
Well, we did, the 8th grade did an electronic circuits project. It's like this area that always just feels a little mysterious. That, you know, that you don't have enough scaffolding to really start building your own knowledge. And every time I try and grab for something in electronics, it always sort of feels slippery and I can never really grab on. So doing this with the 8th graders and sitting there with them and going, I don't know, and having to figure it out, and all of a sudden after that process, like, oh, okay, I have a nugget now that I feel like I can really grab onto, and it's enabled me to kind of keep going. And if it wasn't for those 8th graders having to sit down there and go, I don't know, and having to figure it out and think about it and explain it again and again. Because students a couple times, just like, but you know,
It will be fine in there.
Yeah.
You go ahead and tell them, here.
Yeah. So, lovely to meet you.
Thank you for stopping.
Yeah. And I'm gonna go, all right. Hey, John. Hey. Yeah, you too. Good. I saw Phil and David there earlier. You were coming there now. Yeah. Feel free to stop over. I did. Yeah. Oh, did you? Okay. Yeah.